Ambar, actually, and I'm here with.
Steven.
How are you? Let's start there.
I'm good. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. People
Of
don't ask
course.
enough, so I appreciate that. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm here, with you making this lovely episode that I'm excited to talk about
Mm,
relationships, red flags, and he's just not that into you. Things that, I feel like I've asked myself, like, is this working? Am I getting the same vibes or am I being delusional?
mhm,
That
mhm.
was one word that was like sparking, I feel like in 2025. Do you agree?
Uh,
Sparking a
yeah,
lot of interest.
delusion. There was another one. Um, I think it was embarrassing that I started to see on TikTok a lot from the girlies. I try to stay out of women's business, but sometimes the content comes my way.
Right, right. So, red flags. What are some of you would say red flags in your opinion that you've
Oh
noticed?
man, lack of boundaries. Um, it's not necessarily a red flag, but it'll be a red flag for me. Anxious attachment style. Trying to see what else. Just I think anything could be technically a red flag to an extent in regards to how does this person mesh with your personality and your style and like what it is that you're sort of like seeking and trying to navigate the world. So it may not necessarily be like the common red flag of like, lack of behavior or, poor relationship with their parents or things of that nature. I think anything could kind of be like a red flag because it's like, okay, here's a personality type that I've noticed in who you are that doesn't necessarily mesh with who I am. And so probably going to end this sooner than later so we don't waste either of our times.
Do you think we over intellectualize behavior instead of just observing patterns? Do you have a method to your
I'm
to
trying
your
to think.
ways?
Over. Right. I'm sorry. Repeat that again. Repeat that.
Well, do we
Let me
over
process this.
intellectualize behavior? Sometimes, like some people make mistakes. I glitch sometimes, I like to say. So it's like, do you give people an opportunity to make those mistakes or do you just automatically like, no, at your age, obviously it's different for me because
Whoa, time out, time out. Your age, relax, relax. Don't be throwing that out there like I'm some old timer. Like everybody, calm down, calm down. Um,
my fault, my fault. Somebody called me auntie the other day. So I was just like, auntie, you
I'm
know,
blessed enough to where I haven't gotten the unk sort of tagline. I pay a lot of money for my skincare routine, so I'm trying to keep that as far away from me as possible. Um, I think by nature I'm a like overthinker, so I think anytime I'm engaging with anybody, I'm paying attention to anything that they say or what they do. But I'm always gonna give people grace, which sometimes I feel like I give people a little bit too much grace. Um, but I think in general, I give people grace because I think what we tend to forget when it comes to like dating or even just the idea of platonic relationships is like before we met this person, they had a whole life before us. And so I'm not going to necessarily look down upon somebody or put them on the Summer Jam screen because of certain behavioral things. And I think communication is also important because it's like, you gotta talk to people, understand where they come from, understand their experiences. So when you do see certain things that happen, it's kind of like, oh, okay, this isn't necessarily a slight on you. You're just a victim of circumstance per se. It's like, oh, this is the reason why you act this way is probably a trauma response or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know. I think that's how I try to operate. I don't think I've ever like been over the top with it when it comes to people that I've engaged with. What about yourself?
Hmm. I feel like I'm also someone who's in their head a lot sometimes, so maybe I'll bypass certain things more than once because I'm just like, I'm always thinking of like the other side of the spectrum.
Hmm.
So I do try to give people grace as well. But I've learned to also kind of just be quicker with like things that bother me as well.
Hmm.
um Voicing, some people take that as argumentative sometimes, which is another red flag in my opinion, because if I can't come
Yes.
to you and like voice something that bothered me, or like maybe I noticed that I took the wrong way, like sometimes I'll take things the wrong way, but if I say that this is what it meant to me at the time and you're kind of just like trying to brush it, or you know not really consider the situation, that I would say is a red flag for sure.
Mm. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's definitely a red flag because then it's like, why do you think communication has to lead into an argument? I mean, also, arguments are healthy to a certain extent. Well, let me not say argument. Disagreements are healthy.
Debates.
Yeah, disagreements, debates are healthy. Like, we're two different people from two different walks of life. You may have certain viewpoints or certain experiences that differ than mine. So we're not always going to agree all the time. So if you find that to be combative, then that kind of speaks more about you than it does about what it is that I'm actually trying to discuss at the time. But not everybody's
Right.
emotionally intelligent. So there's that.
Right. Also, another thing, mixed signals. Um, I feel like, just to bounce back with the communication, obviously, if it's not clear, it means that it's not aligning. I feel like things can be simple. You can't In some areas there is gray, but it should be
Hmm.
kind of black and white to a certain extent when it comes to two people getting together, getting to know each other, and knowing, you know, whether it's gonna work.
No, I have to agree 1,000%. I don't think I've ever had this sort of experience personally because, I guess whether you want to call it accurate or inaccurate, women tend to be more vocal about their desires or where they stand with things. So I've never dealt with anybody where I kind of felt like, oh, I've never had to do the what are we? I've never had to do one of those. Never had to do one of those, thankfully. But like those things tend to happen.
What does that mean per se? Like, how do you feel about that, since you emphasized the "what are we" conversation? Like, what is
Oh, when
that?
it's like a approach to me, or what do you mean just like in
No, like,
general?
what are you, as the observer? Obviously, you just said that you've never had to question yourself. So, like, what do you
Mhm.
think is the psychology behind that? Because a lot of women experience that. People are online vocal about, asking themselves, is this real, or am I in limerence?
And I think it starts from, 1, a lot of people don't know what they want, or they do know what they want, but out of desperation, they accept something less than what it is that they want. So then they feel that internal conflict, and then that's when they have to do the whole awkward, like, what are we? What are we doing? Like, what am I in this for? And it's like those sorts of questions probably should be answered ahead of time. And a lot of times it don't even necessarily have to be vocalized. Like a person's actions should confirm like what are we? Um so if you reach a point where you have to ask yourself that or you have to ask that person that, then you kind of know what it is. It's not what you want, basically. Like
Mhm. I feel like a lot
that's
of the times for women, they kinda like to put a deadline on things. Like, for a lot of women, they've had the mindset of like, "Oh, I need to marry at this age," or "If I don't have a kid at this age," or "I am perceived as this because I'm this age and I'm single," Like, there's so many things that, as women, I would say, collectively are things that kind of interfere with that as well, with settling, I guess.
yes. And a portion of it, well, I'm not an expert, so don't quote me on this, but I feel like the root of that comes from patriarchy and the idea of like what a woman's role should be in, I guess, society. So it's like if you're not procreating and you're not working towards marriage, then what are you really doing as a woman? Which is basically a flawed sort of approach because you could still have a very fulfilling and substantial life that doesn't require procreating or, you know, having a ring on your finger. So I think when people get too caught up in that, or the women who do get caught up in that, they'll then settle for like relationships or situationships, like our previous episode we discussed, where it's like they don't really have an end goal here because it was never defined. And they'll accept the fact that this one person wants to interact with them for and just accept the bare minimum versus actually going after what it is that they truly want. But, then you have the
Mhm.
social media aspect where it's like there's like this, I don't know if this is the right term, but like fear mongering of like, oh, I don't want to be single because it's bad out here and like all this other extra shit. And then it's like, bro, you unhappy making subliminal posts on Instagram towards the man that's sitting right in your bed. And it's like, grow up. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
Going to the social media aspect, I just actually seen a TikTok and it was I don't know if he was a professional or not, but he was basically saying that situationships are a mental illness. If I find it, I'll send it to you because it was interesting to hear about, like, how he explains it, like, correlates. So, yeah, I'm like, "Okay, mental illness." I think I can see it. I think I see it. But moving on to the chaos of s to the chaos, the social media dating advice keeps telling women to wait, be softer, or to not scare him off, like, not be as vulnerable when it comes to dating. Do you feel like you've encountered people, like, too having their guard up too for too long?
uh, it's a lot of what's the phrase I used to say? There's a lot of people with invisible scars out here. It's a lot of people who have been through traumatic experiences, or their homegirls have been through traumatic experiences, or you could just easily just open any damn app and you could find somebody venting about a relationship that they had. And I think because of that, you have a population of people who, when they go into dating and they go into these dynamics, it's kind of like, I'm only going to give you a small portion of who I am as an
Mm,
individual because I don't want to open up. I don't want to be vulnerable. Last time I was vulnerable with someone, I got hurt, or they used this against me, or they used that against me. And it's like you're doing a disservice to yourself. Like the idea of dating is to connect with someone on a very human level to the point where you want to be vulnerable. You don't have to put on a facade, and this is a safe space. Granted, said person has to provide said space, so that's also very important. But if you have no intention of doing so, then stop seeing said person and find somebody that provides you the safe space. Or if it doesn't matter who the person is, you probably need therapy because what's the point? Like, if you're gonna have a guard up, like that's not fun. And for anybody who's emotionally intelligent, they'll recognize that. They'll recognize like, hey, you are not really opening up in the ways that I think you would. Or like you being a bit cold in areas where you need to be a bit more warm. And it's like, especially if the person hasn't done anything to like trigger you in that way to act like that,
mm,
like somebody will notice that. Cause I remember, not I remember, but I have I don't know if I want to call her a friend, a colleague, but a former client who happens to be a therapist. She was telling me about a dating experience she had a few months ago, and like the guy had to like put her on the spot of like, yo, like what's good with you? Because like you being really closed off, and like it's almost as if you're preparing to like self sabotage because you're scared of something that you don't even know if it's gonna happen or not. And so that was kind of like her wake up call to kind of like bring her guard down to like, okay,
mm.
let me actually pour into this the way this person deserves to experience me and the way I deserve to experience love in whatever form that may be. And she's admitted like after the fact, like it was one of the better relationships that she ever had. And so it's like when you don't allow yourself to be vulnerable, like I said, you're doing yourself a disservice. Have you ever felt like you've had to like put your guard up, based off of individuals that you ain't would be talking to?
No, I feel like when I indulge in that, I feel like I start at 100, like with my feelings and how like
You gotta tone it down. You gotta reel it in. You
what do
gotta
you
reel it in.
mean?
A
So
hundred
this
is
is
a
just
lot.
no, I'm saying like I feel like people come like batteries charged, You come
Okay.
charged up how you
Mhm.
are, your person. You don't have to be extra. It's just who you are, right? And so the more I observe, the more I interact and the more I guess things happen, I lessen. So then I feel like at some point I kind of like shut down or
Mhm.
if, obviously there'll be communication, obviously, but yeah, I don't know. Did I answer the question? I feel like I
You've
didn't
answered the
really
question,
answer.
but I guess my follow-up question would be, why would you not take the different approach? Like, why wouldn't
Like start
you
at 0 and then
not
gradually
Time out, time out. There's a middle ground. First you was at 100, now you talk about 0. There is a middle ground here. Why don't you start at like, okay, this is who I am without doing too much, and like, yeah, there might be little things here and there that I possibly could do or display, or like person sides of my personality that I would show, but you haven't necessarily earned it yet, or you haven't created
I
that
mean,
safe
yeah,
space yet.
that's obvious, but I'm saying like I'm just a person who's always like just I guess giving, I'm not going to give right away. But I'm not going to also dim down something that I'm already like embody. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like a lot of the
Got you,
times
got you,
women
got you.
do kind of like they reserve too much because it's just like, oh, like, well, he ain't get this for me yet, and I'm doing all this. It's just like it becomes like a tally, a score, and
I
like
have
it
a
just for me that complicates it for me because it's like I don't feel like I'm doing this out of love for real.
Okay. So then I guess I'll ask you a very specific question to kind of gauge where you're at with it. Because something somebody I used to be cool with used to say all the time was, or even someone I speak to now who kind of mentions things like that, of like, um or you just see it online in general a lot of like, there's things you do as a girlfriend, there's things you do as a wife, there's things that, the talking stage that you do or whatever. And I remember a big one was, someone used to say all the time was like, oh, I don't cook for nobody that's not my husband. So it's like, I don't care if we're dating, I don't care whatever the case may be, I'm not cooking
Mhm.
for you. And I get it, but also like, I don't know, I feel like it's slightly
I want to
weird.
say something. I think it is because it's like food is so basic. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like the base. It's not basic, but it's a necessity. One. And, obviously going out on a date and then cooking at home is like a whole different experience, right?
Mhm.
It's for me, it's more personal. So I get where women say like, oh, like I'm just not gonna be cooking for anybody. But at the same time, how is he supposed to know that you can cook or like if you even have the ability to do the things, a person would do when you cohabitat? Is this person's diet in my lane or are they conscious about certain things that I'm conscious about? How are we going to mesh that together? I don't know. I say that that's an example to kind of showcase what you're capable of, maybe. I'm not against it. I've cooked for people I've dated. Like, I don't think that that's weird or like I shouldn't do that. Am I cooking for everyone that I've dated? No. Not a lot of people even make it past, the door. So
Listen, man,
it's, yeah,
I
I
just
think I
find it
said a lot
very
there.
No, I think you made your point. I think it's just very interesting, like, what is the sort of like, and everybody's entitled to whatever it is that they want to do with
Yeah.
their life that's appropriate for them. But I just think it's very interesting the certain like benchmarks that people will do. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna do this, but I'll do this. So it's like you ain't gonna cook for him, but you bust it open for him. So it's like,
Right.
what are we really talking about here? And I get it, like, you want to like, somebody should earn, to a certain extent, these sort of, like, privileges per se. But
Mhm.
if you're just off the bat like, "No, I'm just not doing this no matter what," then it's basically what you're telling me is I don't deserve to be respected or loved or appreciated
Mhm.
in any form of way, and, like, I don't know, I just find shit like that to be very weird, and there is, like, this population, at least from what I'm seeing, some of my experiences of, like, women who kinda operate in this lane of, like, borderline in a weird way is kinda like trophy wife-ish, of, like, "I'm just here to look pretty,
Mm.
maybe make you chuckle a couple times here and there, and that's about it. My purse don't open, I ain't doing no hard labor. The fact that, you gotta drive me to and from, I don't do public," like, there's so many different rules and
Yeah.
regulations, and it's like, it's interesting. It's very
The terms and
interesting.
conditions. Well, that
Yeah,
also ties into my next conversation of, like, the reality checks of things. So it's like interest looks like consistency and effort and clarity. So it's like if she's not making an effort and I'm the one, always fronting the bill, always getting the gifts, you're kinda at a like a no-brainer at that point. It's
right.
like, okay, she's, doing this. Or if he's just like wanting to, stay inside, not really take you out and like breadcrumbing you, that's also like red flags and things that you should consider to kind of make your next decision of like, I don't like this. I need to change this. That's what it comes down to, right?
Yeah, basically, because I think at the end of the day, whatever you want to consider the benchmark to be, and it doesn't even have to be something like crazy, because I know an experience I had last year, which again, me giving people too much grace, um, which I guess you could kind of consider like a red flag, was somebody who was always late. And it was like,
Mm,
oh, you don't respect my time. 'Cause that's what you're basically saying. Because if I'm supposed to be important to you, if you want to see me, that means you gotta be on time. Yes, you gotta be late from time to time. It's New York, New Jersey, traffic is crazy. If you use public transit, even if you use Uber, like, you gotta be late from time to time. But if you're never on time, then it just goes to show, like, this is not a priority for you. This isn't
mm,
something that you're fully invested in and committed to. Because if it was something else, if it was money driven, if it was something else driven, you would probably be there probably 15 minutes early versus being on time. So I think
right.
yeah, I think those sorts of little signs show like either someone is either breadcrumbing, not really interested, or, like they have these sort of weird sort of things of like how they operate in terms of how they navigate dating and relationships. So I don't know. To each its own. All this shit is weird. I don't know nothing no more.
So chime in on some ways you have expressed interest in all kinds of ways, financially, uh, physically,
Why was
or
that the first one? Wait a minute.
I don't know.
Why are you trying to? Oh man.
Let's not even know. Let's not even talk about the financials. Okay, we're in
Honestly,
tough times right now.
but I think that that's a solid one though. But I think honestly,
But you know
to
what it is too? Sorry to interrupt. I just feel like
no, go
in
ahead.
in today's society, I feel like a lot of women, they have that on the top of the list. Like, if he's not investing in you financially, then he's a dub, and I don't personally agree with that, but I just feel like that's kind of the content that I've been seeing for the most part on social media.
Well, I mean, yeah, kudos to them. That's the lifestyle they want to live. Whatever. I would say specifically with that, I think it's more so like change for those who are open to it, change your perspective when it comes to finances. It's not about how much money they're spending on you, it's about how they're using the money that they have to provide you an experience in terms of what type of, quality time that they're trying to invest in. So it's like, yeah, we may go to I don't know, I'm just making shit up. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, this museum is free every Tuesday and Friday or whatever, but normally the ticket is like $50 or whatever, something ridiculous like that. And it's like, but they're making the effort because you're only available this day to go to said place. And he's like, yo, I'm gonna make it happen. Like, I would say that shows a level of commitment versus somebody if it's like, it's only free on this day. And not to say there's anything wrong with going on a free day. Um, but going back to the original question, I think when it comes to the idea of like showing how invested you are with someone, I think it's really simple. It's about consistency, it's about communication, um, and it's about it basically is about how do you cater to this individual's love languages. And so quality time, um, physical touch that doesn't necessarily have to be sexual. What's the other one? Words of affirmation. What are the things that they are saying? Like, oh, I really appreciate this night out with you, or I appreciate the conversation that we have. Like being very uh impeccable with your word. Ooh, that's a good
Mhm.
phrase right there.
Okay.
Um, I'm trying to think what's the other ones? It's words of affirmation, quality
Mhm.
time, physical touch,
Gifts.
gifts. I mean, gifts could be financial, but if you good enough, if you pay attention enough, your gifts don't have to be expensive. Because
Tangible
I've
or
yeah,
yeah, I
they
don't
don't
know.
have to be
They could
expensive.
be
They could be very
experiences.
yeah, they could be very thoughtful sort of pieces or things.
Right.
And they don't always have to cost a crazy amount. Because like all
Right.
of us, we all have a bunch of wants and desires. And then sometimes the things that we want aren't necessarily the most expensive thing, but we prioritize more important things. So it's like, oh,
Right.
I heard you wanted this weighted blanket. And because you ain't get it the last 4 or 5 months, I'm gonna just get it for you randomly. And like stuff like that
Right. That's
is like
cute.
that shows. I mean, what I mean. Um,
Pay attention,
Gifts,
guys.
yeah. So it's like I think you show your level of investment based off of how you cater to somebody, and it doesn't necessarily have to be grand sort of like
No.
displays because I'm not no trick in any sort of capacity, but it's like I'm going to care about the things that you say. I'm going to care about the things that you mention. And so when you're engaging with me, it's like I'm not taking this for granted. Like I'm not taking this individual for granted. Like the things you say matter. So I'm going to take it into fruition when it's like, oh, okay, she told me she liked Thai restaurants. I probably just hypothetically speaking, I never had Thai food before, but I'm going to try to find the best one or whatever's in my budget
Mhm.
and try to have this one-on-one experience with her. So I think all those different things could kind of, if you start that as like your foundation, like there's really no way to lose. And then what makes it, well, my final point, what makes it even
Mhm.
easier, you can't even say that you don't have the tools. Before you just had the internet, you had social media, now you have AI. So you can literally ask any AI tool to just, hey, this girl said she likes X, Y, and Z. I live in this area. What are some of your suggestions or whatever? And it'll just populate all these sorts of ideas for you. And if you don't want to use AI, like there's a bunch of articles that has a bunch of stuff. Like I've done research on multitude of occasions. So it's like it's all
Right.
about effort. It's
It's
really
easy
all about
to
effort.
pick up any search engine and search these things up
Bruh,
and,
it
you
really
know?
isn't. Exactly. Especially when you see way more content that is focused on women and the things that they want or the things that they like. And that's even another layer to it. If you follow her on social media, she's probably following the things that she likes or the people that she
Mhm.
likes. So all you got to do is just do some research.
Or
It's like
notice
10
the
minutes.
things she posts, if she posts, "Oh, this is the wish list," or whatever the case is, like, I saw this cute thing, and you remembered, and then you bought it, or
At the end of
whatever.
the day, it's all about effort and intention. If you get that
Yeah,
right,
definitely.
then it all falls in place.
If a man wants to be in your life or a woman, you won't be guessing these things. They'll be shown, displayed, you'll feel it.
Speaking of, sorry for cutting you off. Speaking
Mhm.
of, I never had an opinion on this, and I really still don't to a certain extent, but I'm going to bring it up anyway
Okay.
because we're talking about exchanging. There's always that joke during the holidays or significant like birthdays or whatever.
Mm.
You have some women who don't necessarily participate in being as exploratory with, oh, let me find this, let me find that. It's here's this same old vagina that you've had the past X amount of time. And it's like,
Stop.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh my
If
god.
he's happy with such. But
Okay.
also like effort. If you want this person to exhibit your effort, you should also exhibit some level of effort. Like it
Mhm.
could still be the coochie, but it could be coochie and a gift. Like
No, I agree. I definitely agree. I feel like with everything, there needs a reciprocation. And I feel like if this is someone that you value, you want to show them gratitude in, whichever way. And it's fair, I think, to be generous if they're generous for sure.
right. And it goes back to the whole like sort of like thing I brought up of like there's a population of women who think like their only job is to like be essentially a trophy wife. And
Hmm.
so, oh, I'm not gonna buy him nothing because if it don't work out, I wasted my money on this. Or if it don't work out, or what's the I've
No
never heard this
return on the
until
investment.
not even the return on the investment. This sort of don't buy him sneakers or shoes because you're gonna walk out of your life. And it's
Oh,
like,
that's a superstition that they like to say.
but what about all the
I
damn shoes and everything else that men buy women? Like, I don't know. I think so, a lot of the
the
stuff and
double
I
standards.
a lot of ideologies are somewhat silly. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
I think we said it I don't know if we said it on this episode or a previous episode, but the idea of dating is like it's supposed to experience people. And hopefully it's long lasting and a forever thing, but we know most of them aren't going to be the case. So it's like I don't ever look back on any previous relationship or dating experience I had and I look at somebody and be like, oh, well, I spent X amount of money on this person and this didn't work out, so I wasted my money. It's like, no, I still experienced them. We did things together. I experienced the joy when I gave them said things or whatever the case may
Mhm.
be. So it's like you still have those memories, but I'm talking to a wall at this point when it
Mhm.
comes to shit like this.
Why? What do you mean?
I feel like people are too far gone. Like, I
Oh,
think
too jaded?
yeah, too much damage has been done. And I think because of social media, now you have pockets of community. So it's like, if this is what I believe, how people operate, I could find other people who also believe the same thing. And so I'm never going to change my mind. I'm never actually going to
Hmm.
go outside and live my life and like experience the
We just
world
say
for what it
this.
is
Mhm.
versus people's like, oh, you see, all these niggas cheat or all these women got side niggas, whatever the stupid shit is. And then it's like,
Or they're just out to get my money.
right. And it's like, then you're never
But
gonna
you
be
know what?
happy.
It's not that she's not a good person or he's not a bad person. It's not aligned. Sometimes we like to force things on ourselves when they're, obviously just it's a moment. Sometimes we need these experience to realize like, wow, like there's people who are a little bit more traumatized than others because I was coming in very respectful, very transparent, very communicative, and like you, I've encountered spaces where it's like you're giving all of this energy and it's like a dead end. There's a dead end somewhere. And it's just like, oh, wish it would have worked, but we must move on, right?
I don't even wish it would have worked. You gone for a reason. I appreciate the time, but I'm gonna catch ya.
Oh man, you're funny. I mean, you know what? To each his own, right? Um,
If it was supposed to work, it would have worked.
and
So
that's
I
what
don't
I
even
always
wish.
I always say, like, I'll never miss something that's for me. So it's like, if it's not for me, then it's cool. Like, no love lost. I'm not, writing journal entries about the situation. um,
That's funny because somebody literally was telling me about them writing a journal entry about someone from their past, and I'm like, listen, man, everybody has their own form of like healing and trauma, so I
that
ain't gonna knock it.
works.
Yeah,
That
I ain't
works
gonna knock
though.
it.
I
Yeah.
definitely do journal, but I feel like I like to process it then and there. Like I'm really big on like crying. So a good cry, a sad song, I'll put the saddest of songs on just to kind of get it out my system.
Damn.
And I don't know, that works for me.
I
It's
don't know
been
the last time
working.
a woman made me sad. That's crazy. It's been a
No, you
while.
haven't cried over someone like as of late?
Cried over a woman? I'm sure I've
I
cried
wonder
over a
if
woman
I've
in
made someone
life.
cry.
I don't be thinking about that. I be thinking like, do I cross somebody's mind?
I always wondered that, like, if I ever made someone cry, because I know that I can be a little sassy and, sometimes I use my words to hurt sometimes.
I think it's different with men because men don't be catching on. Like they don't be. I don't think they be catching on. I think it'd be too late for them. They be in the latter stages when it's like, oh shit, I fucked up. And I don't even think it's like a cry. It's more so like, damn, I actually had something that what I thought I wanted at the time, I actually had it,
Mm,
but then I didn't value it the way I needed to value it, so I lost it. And now that I know that's what I really want, I know I can't have it. I think more
that's
men.
when you guys shed tears when it's, like, far.
I don't even think they shed the tears. I think they just
No?
have that come to Jesus
Damn.
moment. Yeah, I don't even. That's when they have that come to Jesus
I
moment, and
want tears.
That's when you get the. I don't even think they do this on Facebook anymore. But that's when you get the random Facebook message like, "Hey,
Oh, shit. Or the
you know."
LinkedIn message?
Yeah, that's when you get the random spin the block, and it'd be like, "Damn, bro, I'm down
Have you
bad."
Are you a spin the blocker or do people spin the block on you?
Women don't spin the block because they have too much pride. Um, I'm not really a spin the blocker, but I will say I'm not the type of person where if we end things in a healthy way that I just sever communication. Like there may be like, oh, we just stop speaking because life goes on. But I'm not someone who's like, oh, we just don't speak at all. Because there's a
You don't
couple.
delete them on social media or, like, erase their number, change your number?
Not really, unless it's like somebody where it's like, I really have no interest in communicating with you anymore. Like
Mhm.
we're different people. So, and sometimes it takes time to like recognize that, oh, okay, we're just different people and like we don't mesh well. So it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'll probably delete your number because there's nothing for us to talk about. Not gonna hang out. Then you also have a lot of women who don't believe in the idea of
Being friends
opposite
with an
sex.
ex?
Yeah, not even being friends with an ex, just platonic
Platonic.
relationship with the opposite sex. So you have a lot of that too. Um, but yeah, like I'm not someone who like I'm so tight. I'm gonna delete your number and like I'm gonna block you on social media. Like, nah, I'm not usually.
I feel
I
like
don't
I'm a little
usually
bit
operate like
dramatic.
that.
Sometimes I need to be dramatic, but then there's also instances where it's like, okay, the person is not getting the clue, calling me blocked, or, texting from different strange numbers. Like, I've had those situations where it's like, okay, yeah, I need to change my number because this is getting to a point where, something needs to be kind of done
Yeah,
there.
I'm not the spin the block type. Maybe in like a casual conversation, if I randomly hear from them or they may cross my mind in some sort of capacity, but it's never to like check their temperature to see what's going on. It's more so like,
Mm.
hey, cross my mind, hope all's well. Never gonna see you again in life, but good to know you good. Um,
They say that too, like, "Oh, I know that you were just a lesson because I never seen you again afterwards." Like, that's the confirmation of, like, we were just supposed to have that one moment in time and, go about our way.
that's why I be finding it so frustrating when I have friends who can't overcome previous dynamics because it's like it is what it was. Like, just let it go. Like, move on. Like, you still have your whole life ahead of you, but you're still fixated on this one experience. And yes, it was a great experience, but you still have your whole life ahead of you. You're letting trauma from like 4 or 5 years ago hamper your present. And that's just crazy to me. Maybe it's an
Mm,
Aquarius thing. You know, we get the cold hearted sort of label. We could easily just let go, and that doesn't mean like I don't care, because there's definitely still people like specifically like two people that I still very much well, one person I haven't spoken to, but one person I definitely have very much a lot of love for. But in general, like most people I've interacted with, like once it's over, like I gotta sever ties and move on. And like I
right.
appreciate the time, I appreciate whatever lessons I learned, and like that's it. I'm not gonna allow my past to like impact who I am today and how I want to move forward in the future. But
I have something
I
to
put
interject with that. I feel like people can't handle the past sometimes. Like, let's say, for example, you never mentioned that you had a relationship, like an intimate relationship with someone that you're still, obviously friends with. So
uh
you're dating or you're, exclusive with the person. They meet this person and then months later they ask like, "Oh, like did this happen? Would you disclose that information or is it something like you'd probably prefer not to discuss because this is something that can get a little tricky?"
listen here. Okay, this is how I operate. This is how I've always operated. This is how I'm forever gonna operate. I do not mix my friends. I don't mix people in
Oh,
general.
okay.
I have friends that I know from specific environments, and these are the only environments that I'm going to associate with them. I don't be like, oh, here's my friend from work, mixing with my friend from high school, mixing with my friend from college, mixing with my friend from this other job. I don't do that. I don't do the group thing. I don't listen. That's way too much management. Everybody has different personality types. My humor with this one person may be different than my humor with somebody else. So this person says something to the other person. I don't have time for the drama. So I don't mix
Mm,
friends. When it comes to like relationship dynamics, I am very good with boundaries. So if I'm like seeing someone and it's going to, or is on the path of trying to be serious, then there's previous people that I maybe have been speaking to or whatever the case is. It's like I start to reduce the amount of conversation because it's like now my energy is already being focused towards this new person anyway. Um, and yeah, there's no reason for me to be, hey, this is my homegirl, such and such. And homegirl just happened to be somebody that we both seen each other naked before. Like, I'm not doing all that. Like, this just way too messy. I don't have to ask. I don't
right.
like
Why do
no.
people really care too? Like, it's like
Yeah,
it
like
goes
I
back
don't
to,
got
like, the
time for
body
this.
count thing. It's like, okay, well, people are always so concerned about people's past and how many or how,
Yeah, I ain't got
whatever,
time. I
whatever.
ain't got time for that. And then if I am dating someone, then I do tell these friends like, "Hey, I'm starting to see somebody," and these friends have respect and they understand.
Right.
I'm like, "Oh, okay, like probably not gonna speak to him as much or whatever the case is." So I've never had any of these scenarios where it's like I'm at some spot somewhere and it's like there's this one girl I used to mess with this other girl I used to mess with. They know each other like listen, there's no connective tissue with any of my past partners, and it will always remain that way. If
Mhm.
anybody knows anybody, then it's Casper the Friendly Ghost, and I never saw it because that's not how I operate. Like, I don't even be liking
I
to
feel like
be
people are
like,
just nosy too. Like, they just like to connect dots and, like,
and
people watch.
I don't even like to be like buddy buddy with whoever I'm dating friends because it's like I don't care about y'all. Like
No?
y'all cool, but like I'm here for her. I don't care about the rest of y'all. Like, why y'all here
Even
anyway?
even
Why y'all
when it
talking to me?
even if it gets serious to the point where it's like,
Well,
okay,
yes,
well.
obviously I'm gonna be cordial. I'm gonna be,
Right.
my normal charming self. But then it's like, don't put me in the girl group. Like I ain't one of the homegirls. Like,
Right.
nah, man. Like I'm respectful and I'm cordial, but I don't want to be buddy buddy with y'all. I'm only focused on shorty. The rest of y'all are irrelevant. But that's just how I move. I
You
don't
operate.
know. Yeah, everybody don't operate like that. I might be crazy for that. So, because I remember I had a homegirl and we used to have conversations and she used to be mad because
Mhm.
like her boyfriend is also an Aquarius, and he kind of operated the same way, where it was like he didn't really care for her to be like cool with his, friends like that, his female friends. And she was like, I don't like why does he operate like that? Like, why you don't like because there's no benefit. Like there's
I
really
feel
no
like
benefit to it.
I bounce into groups sometimes. Like, I don't have a per se friend group to be like, "Oh, like, I want my significant other to meet my friends," like, and a lot of my friends are everywhere. They're like, one's in Arizona, one's in Florida, one's in West Virginia, like, we've all kinda scattered everywhere, so it's not like I can be like, "Oh, let's do, movie night at, our house." I see a lot of cute videos like that. That's why I bring it up too because I feel like I see a lot of like cute hosting vibes and it's like couples, they're hanging out, but then I'm like,
Mhm.
is this something that I would really partake in and enjoy for real? It looks fun online, but I don't
Any woman that's listening right now, don't think I'm participating in that shit.
know.
If I'm going to any cabin or party night, it's a party of 2, okay? There will be no friends, there will be no family members. That's one of the things, like, with speaking to women, it's like, "Oh, how do you vacation?" It's like, "Oh, we do group stuff," and it's like,
Yeah.
clipped, clipped,
Those
clipped,
are your checklist of questions that you
clipped, clipped. I don't do double dates. I don't
Oh,
do
okay.
gang outings, none of that. I don't listen, it's me and you against the world. Fuck everybody else. I'm not here for that. I haven't been on a double date since I was like 19. And that shit was trash because homeboy was in competition with me versus paying
No
attention to his
way.
girl. Men are weird. This is why I stay away from men. This is why most of my friends are females or women, I should say, because they're more
Yeah,
rational, even though everybody's irrational. I ain't got the
yeah.
time. I just do not have the time.
So since we're diving into the, obsession, like the ranting mode of the episode, I wanna chime in on something that I've been kind of pondering,
Floor is yours.
romanticizing potential instead of reality. And that goes
Mm,
to that ties in between too with like noticing red flags, but it's like sometimes we kind of romanticize a situation. I will say I will admit it. Where I'm like, oh, maybe if I stick
listen, man.
around a little longer.
Listen, man. I've gotten some texts from you, and I just roll my eyes. I'm like, yo, Shorty don't learn, bro. She mad hard headed. She telling me this whole
Stop. Don't be
speech, and
putting
I'm
my business out there.
I didn't mention no names. I didn't mention no scenarios. All I said was there's been times where we've had conversations, and I'm like, well, here we go again.
Oh man. I don't know. I don't have to watch TV. Sometimes my love life is the right amount of entertainment.
Listen, man, that
In
doing
the
it for the
past,
plot,
in the past.
doing it, that's a lie. Doing it for the plot, gonna get y'all caught up. That's all I'm gonna say. Matter of fact, I'm not gonna lie. I think everybody should kind of do it for the plot from time to time. Because again, life is about experiences. Sometimes you should just do shit for the sake of you want to do shit. Like that's your natural human instinct. Just do shit responsibly. Um, but I will say, I don't think men really romanticize women in that same. I don't think men romanticize women in the same way women romanticize men. Because I think when women do it, it's more so like the potential of what this could be. Of like, here's this energy that I probably haven't experienced. What happens if I have access to this on a consistent basis? And how does that build the foundation and a building block to something that could potentially be long term versus I feel like most men is like when she taking them clothes off. Like that's their level of like romanticizing. They're not looking at like the
Lord.
long term. They're not really looking at like the long term effects of it. Um
Right. And
yeah.
what
I
that can
don't
do to a person on the other side of the receiving end. You're thinking like, "Oh, I'm enjoying this for what it is." Whole time she's like planning a wedding in her head and then she has all these expectations.
I've definitely had conversations with people who have experienced that level of limerence and I'd be dumbfounded because I've never experienced no shit like that. I pray I never experienced no shit like
I
that because
rebuke.
I never want to be that blinded by someone just based off of whatever energy or their appearance in the moment. Because that goes back to the
Mm,
earlier part of this episode of like, that's where you start to ignore the red flags. And it's
mhm,
like, you getting stimulated by whatever it is, this new energy, but then you're ignoring, well, he already got a kid already. He lived with his baby moms. He don't got a job right now. Like all this other extra shit you
right.
kind of ignoring because it's like he's giving you this sort of stimulating conversation that you haven't had in God knows how long. And it's like, wake up. wake up.
Or touch deprived sometimes. It's like that shit can get to your mental, you know? It's like you gotta balance some things out in your psyche and your energy if you really wanna have the good discernment that everybody, swears that they have, nobody makes
Have you
mistakes.
have you been touch
Nobody
deprived? Have you been
No,
touch deprived? Oh, okay.
no,
Because that was just interesting that you brought that up. I'm like, wait, I ain't never
no.
heard you use that before. So I'm like, where this coming
It's
from?
I'm learning.
My
Uh,
bad, my bad, my bad. I didn't want to project. My bad for projecting. I didn't want to project.
no, no, no,
Heard you.
no.
Heard you. Okay. Just making
But not
sure.
even in the we might
There's
cut
nothing
that
wrong
out
with
because
that.
this is like, what are you implying now? It's like,
No,
okay.
that's not. I'm not implying anything. You just have it at their experience. Some people don't. Some people, physical touch is not their love language, so that
Hmm.
they may not necessarily experience touch deprivation the same way.
Deprivation, like, that's not something that exists for them because it's, like,
Yeah, like
unbothered?
yeah, like they cool. Like that ain't do it for them. I wasn't trying to imply anything at all. And touch the pride doesn't necessarily have to mean like sexual. It could just be like, somebody rubbing shoulders with you or like somebody
Right.
holding your hand and whatever the case is. But
Yeah. Hugs. I like
hugs.
hugs.
I think what it says, a human's supposed to get at least like 8 hugs a day or some shit like that.
Wow. Then
Ideally,
yes, I am touch deprived because
listen,
I don't think I got 1 hug. I got 2
we
hugs from my little one. But
oh
yeah.
well, then I'm out the loop. I'm out the loop. No little ones, no pets, no. I don't even got a plant to hug, so I'm definitely touch
I just
deprived.
got flowers. I actually gave my flowers a kiss last night. So, like, those are the things I do to
See,
make sure I'm not touch deprived,
see,
you know?
you living it up, yo. You living it up. Spread the wealth. Spread the wealth.
So, okay, so then another thing too, like texting and communicating and keeping up with, the people who, let's say you have a roster or just someone that you're entertaining. It's like me personally, I don't have the energy to text 5 people, good morning, and, how was your day? And, the small talk sometimes, like, I don't know, it does something to me.
Well, do you
What
think
do you think?
I'm gonna ask you this. Do you think you'd be more capable of doing that if more men were good at communicating?
Probably because sometimes it just feels so repetitive, like if I'm in that zone where I'm like, trying to meet somebody, um, and obviously you have to go through certain conversations and it's like,
Mm,
I just feel like sometimes it gets repetitive or it's not interesting. They're not stimulating me enough to continue or to care or to pretend to care, and that may come off a little rude sometimes, but it's like I'm also not going to pretend like I want to engage, like I want to be like I said 100. So if I feel like I'm at 45 now because of the texting, it's going to be kind of hard to keep my attention
mhm, mhm, mhm.
personally.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Not to toot my own horn, but I'm great at communicating. So I don't normally run into those sorts of issues. I would say I coincidentally, I have run into people who aren't great communicators, which is kind of surprising, because that's not usually the stigma that's put onto women per se.
Hmm.
And I definitely have had trouble because then it'll be like those be the same people who'll be like, "Oh, I don't like to text. Call me." And then it's like, okay, you call them, they don't say shit, and it's
Crickets.
they don't say
And
shit.
you're
It's
hearing
like
each other breathe.
yeah, and it'd be like I'm constantly carrying the conversation, and it's like I'm doing a lot of labor here. Things need to
Yeah.
be a bit more balanced out. So that's definitely something I would say. There's probably two people that I know who kind of operate like that. But then that goes to the whole anxious attachment style because then that goes. Those are also people who probably they need to be around somebody or they need to at least see whoever it is that they're engaging with so that they could feel like there's a level of connection, even
Mm.
though I'll be like, yo, this is boring because ain't nobody saying shit. But
Right, right.
it is
I've
what it
definitely
is.
experienced that where like I've not pretending because at a certain point, I liked talking on the phone with this person, but I just feel like that was more their communication style, that they like to be on the phone, and so I feel like I have a little bit of trauma in recovering, having a balance with interacting cellularly. Or am I
Yeah.
pressed? Because a lot of people like to post too online, like, "Oh, well, if he doesn't text you back in 24 hours, then, you should be concerned," or, like, there's so many
I
things, or, like,
mean,
do people have to
20,
talk every day? Like, is that really a
20,
thing? Am I
24 hours is
concerned?
24 hours is excessive. Like,
24 hours? So you can't go 24 hours without talking to the person that you're dating?
if I'm speaking, no, there's a difference between not speaking for like a day or two versus you ask me something or we're in the middle of a conversation and I don't respond for an extended period of time.
Okay, yeah, that's different. Like,
Yeah.
if the
Yeah.
conversation ended, like, there was nothing else to
Right.
discuss, we move on, a whole day passes by. I'm not feeling the type of way if I don't hear back from you in 24 hours because, social batteries. For me
Right.
personally, if I have a long day at work, let's say I have to come back home to my kid, right? I'm still texting, engaging. Cool. The engaging stops, let's say, for example. And then the next day goes and it's like, okay, well, at some point, maybe I'll chime in, but then I don't also want to be like super annoying and like, hey, so what are you doing now? Or like, I'll send something like a reel or a song, just to kind of fill in the voids, I guess, maybe
Uh, uh,
in some
uh,
instances, not all the time.
I would say because you have a kid, that contributes to how your social battery is drained and just your physical battery as well. I think if you didn't have your precious little one, I think your communication style might be slightly different, but I could be wrong.
Mm.
We won't
Mhm.
know. Um, but I will say that I think it is healthy. Well, two things. It's almost a double-edged sort of thing. One, I would say like if you know, like me, I was the type of person like I like consistent communication because for the last 5 years, I was working from home. And most of the jobs that I had in that time span, I had a decent level of like work life balance. I wasn't in a situation where work had me like locked in for extended periods of time and I could not respond. So I was good in terms of like communicating, but I also understood that not everybody had that sort of privilege. So I wasn't the
Mm.
type like blowing you up in the morning, don't hear from you, and then thinking like something is wrong because like I have secure attachment style. So that's one. But I would also say it's a very interesting sort of psychology that has shifted with people because, and I'm sure I've said this to you before. Actually, I don't know, but it's very interesting how like before the age of cell phones, if you was dating somebody or you live with your partner, when they left the apartment or the house to go to work, you did not hear from them until they came back
Mhm.
home. So that meant they had their own experiences, you had your own experiences for at least 8 hours before you would reconnect with this person again.
Right.
Now, because we have cell phones, we have social media apps or whatever, there is
Mhm.
this weird expectation that every given second you need to be connected with your partner or whoever you're talking to. And I think that's just somewhat unhealthy. Like I
Yeah.
remember I know I'm long-winded, but I remember I was watching Couples Therapy. I don't know if you ever watched that show. Really good show.
In the past.
Um,
Mhm.
but there was this one couple, it was like this Puerto Rican woman and this black man, and he would say like as soon as he would get to work, she calls him 20 plus times
Mm.
while he's at work. Doesn't pick
Mhm.
up. When he finally says, fuck it, I'm gonna pick up, he's like, what do you want? Like, and I think she was a stay-at-home wife or girlfriend, whatever the case is. She's like,
Yeah.
okay, what do you want? She ain't got nothing. Just why you ain't pick up the first 15 times? And it's like, bro, like, I'm at work. I mean,
Right.
granted, with an asterisk, I think because I saw it on TikTok. I think somebody has said like he cheated before, so that like triggered why she operated like that.
Mm.
But even so, that's just unhealthy sort of connection with somebody. It's like, yeah, if you're in a space where you could talk all day, cool if you're able to communicate in that way. But if
Right.
not, then
Like
like
a Uber driver who's, like, on the phone with his wife the whole time. Like, I've been in Ubers like that.
yeah, like that's a lot. Like that's a lot. And I'm a yapper. I'm a world class yapper. But like I don't need to be connected with somebody the whole entire day. Like I got shit to
Yeah,
do. But
right.
nah, some people just anxious attachment style. Like that's all they need that. Otherwise, they think the world's about to fucking end.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no. It couldn't be me. I like my space. I enjoy my solitude. I don't necessarily think that I have unhealthy um expansions of time when it comes to, needing my space because I feel like you have to be respectful too to the other person. Like for example, I've been on the other side of the receiving end where it's like I won't hear from a person and this is something that obviously I had to comprehend in my head, like, this person is really not that into me. If I can go, like, all right, 24 hours to me is cool. But if it's like 2 weeks, a month, that's 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 weird, right? That's like not what are we doing?
Uh, I'm gonna well, thankfully I've never experienced this. But any woman who thinks she ain't gonna speak to me for 2 weeks, you don't even need to wonder if I'm still interested. The answer is no.
Because
The
you know what
answer is
it
no.
is too? People find it comfortable where it's like, "Oh, well, I know how she's doing. She's on my social media." Like, people put that probably into perspective or like
Thank you for bringing that up because I don't like that either. Because you
mhm,
said that, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I definitely have seen the conversation of like, um, social media has reached a point from a social standpoint where people don't actually even are social on there. It's just content swaps back and forth, and like to me, that's not connecting. Like
mhm,
that's not how you communicate. Like I didn't learn anything new about you because I sent you a funny meme. So
right.
like I'm fine with that, but I'm not the biggest like person to like constantly send content to someone that I'm talking to. Like I rather actually ask you questions, engage with you in a more substantial way versus here's this, Drewski skit or here's this, stupid thing that I saw on the internet. Or even if it's
Right, some
informative.
AI shit.
Yeah, like even if it's informative, like that's cool, but it's like
Alright.
ask the real questions.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like for me, when dating, I have to get better at asking realer questions or, like, not being I feel like it's easier for me because I just let the other person talk. Because it's like I'm a yapper, so it's like I wanna hear someone else speak, so I let them speak and see what what they got going on, and maybe if it's appropriate, you know, I'll share some advice or whatever the case is. But for the most part, I like to be quiet and kind of read the room, read the person.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Because usually people tell on themselves. And even if they're not necessarily telling on themselves, I think you get a gauge of who they are as an individual and like whether this is someone you'll see again. Because I've only witnessed it one time, but I definitely remember seeing somebody and like I can't remember what she asked me and what I was talking about. And maybe it wasn't even real, but this is what I'm telling myself anyway. But
Okay.
I remember her and I on our first date having a conversation, and whatever it is that I'm saying, I could just feel like this sense of ease in her body where it kind of like
Mm.
clicked in her head of like, oh yeah, I could take him seriously. Like he's not like the other ones. So, um, yeah, I think ain't nothing wrong with that sort of approach.
Yeah. So kinda to wrap things up, red flags aren't warnings to fix someone. They're information to process. There's for you to, recognize patterns and maybe decide this isn't going to work and maybe I'm romanticizing this situation. Choosing yourself isn't bitter, it's mature. Being alone, being single is okay. You don't have to find somebody new to get over the person that you were previously indulging in. And I think it's important and healthy to take time in between because you don't want to, open up wounds that haven't been healed. And
Correct.
then attraction shouldn't come with anxiety. So, like, if there's chemistry, if there's a connection, you shouldn't have to question. There should be clarity, and there should be some form of respect. I think the highest form of respect is consideration. So, if like you consider
Mm.
the person, you consider their feelings, you won't you will allow for them to be, I guess, or string them along, for lack of a
No.
better phrase.
No, no, well said. I really don't even have to add anymore. I think all everything you said was pretty clear and straightforward, like I think it's all about, being intentional and like showing people that you truly care. And yeah, the consideration factor is like so big. I feel like all of these things tie into one another. Like if you focus on quote unquote one thing, is going to fill the other categories as well because like they're all hand in hand. So I think anybody who's being intentional about what it is that they're trying to uh, do or portray when it comes to courting somebody or trying to get to know someone, it's going to show in those ways.
Right. If this episode sounded like something you need to hear, subscribe, rate, leave us a review. It really helps us out. By now we are at our fifth episode,
Hmm.
so hopefully there is some more engaging, and we can discuss what the commenters say.
Yes, and I said it. Well, two things. One, the first week I said I don't think I mentioned therapy, or maybe I mentioned it once, but I didn't mention therapy very little. So that's
Hmm.
one. And then two, I said it last week, and I'll say it again. You can be in the comments. I don't argue with men. Don't argue with men, ladies. I'm here for all the conversation. The fellas, I got nothing for y'all. Anything. Only thing I got for y'all is slander. Slander only.
Right. Drop a comment. Don't slide in my DM or his DM with some nonsense and BS. I like to argue, but you got to catch me on a good day.
Listen, man, my skin is clear for very specific reasons. That's avoiding arguments with people I shouldn't be arguing with. So
Right,
I
right. No, no,
refuse.
but
I
I'm kidding. I'm
refuse.
kidding. But yeah, let us know if you experience any crazy red flags too. I want to share some. If you're willing, it doesn't have to be your name. You can come anonymous, and we'll share your story and talk about
Or you can share your name and we can put you on blast.
it. Thank you very much, Mr. Steven. Until we meet
Mr. Steven
again.
is funny. Now now you saluting me like I'm some old man.
No, stop. Because I mentioned something earlier too, and you were like, whoa, whoa, with the age thing. Please. Age is nothing but a number.
I have no comment because that phrase is very synonymous with a man
Oh,
who we should
man.
not mention. So it's like, you know what? I got nothing. You know what? That's it. We're done. We are done.